Welcome to Morning Coffee. Um, what is our part in God's plan? See, my husband and I, we will share ideas back and forth on how to do something. And sometimes he tells me my ideas won't work because they're illogical. Now, about a year ago, we redid our front yard. And I had an idea in my head as to what I wanted. And my husband told me several times that it wouldn't work because it was illogical. There's no way that it could work. But he eventually gave in and we did my idea. And guess what? It worked. Hmm. So we can't always see someone else's vision, but that doesn't mean that it won't work. I mean, who ever heard of conquering a city by walking around it? Sounds illogical, doesn't it? But that's what God told Joshua to do. He said to march around Jericho for 6 days and he would conquer it. Could you imagine what was going through Joshua's head? Let's see. So we're going to walk around the city for 6 days and then the walls are going to fall down. Yeah, right. Well, did Joshua do it? Yes, he did. And did it work? Yes, it did. Because sometimes we don't understand God's plan. And it's one of the hardest things for us as believers is when God calls us to do something that we can't figure out why. Because to us, it's illogical. Isaiah 55, 8 to 9, it says, For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. See, our job isn't to figure out the why. Our job is to simply obey. See, to obey God's directions by faith, even if they don't make any sense to us. God works in mysterious ways. I mean, think about it. Jesus stepped out onto the waters in the raging sea and he walked across it. To us, that's illogical. But all things are possible with God. There is nothing too hard for him. See, Romans 8:28 tells us, and we know that in all things, God works for the good of those who live on, who have been called according to his purpose. See, God works all things for our good. This doesn't mean that bad things isn't going to happen, but God isn't working to make us happy, but to fulfill his purpose. And that purpose is to make us like Christ. And the more we become like him, the more that we are able to recognize that it is he who created us, and he is creating us to who he wants us to be. And each of us have been called by God to love him, to serve others, and to spread the gospel. And this is his plan for each and every one of us. In Proverbs 16:9, it says, In his heart a man plans his course, but the Lord determines his steps. We can make all the plans we want, but the control of our direction, resides with God. He is the one who establishes the path that we are to follow. Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. You see, as long as we obey God's plan, then we will always, always have hope. So why did God give Joshua such orders to defeat Jericho? See, God was trying to make it clear that the battle was his, and it was not up to the Israelites, their weapons, or their own expertise. No, and God's method heightened the fear that was already felt in Jericho. And this plan tested the Israelites' faith and their willingness to trust God, to remind them that their victory would be from God and not from themselves. This was God's plan. It wasn't the Israelites' plan. So all we have to do is obey. Yes, God, here I am. Send me. And soon enough, we will see his vision, or at the very least, his profitable outcome that brings him glory. Amen. All right. Thank you so much. I love you all. And until next time.